Spain is ramping up coronavirus restrictions amid warnings the country is facing another significant increase in infections. The Catalonia region is among those introducing nighttime curfews, but the measures stop short of last year's strict home confinement, which the Supreme Court has ruled was unconstitutional. Sophia Tran-Thomson reports.
Spain has now vaccinated almost half its population, but among people in their 20s, coronavirus infections are rapidly rising, with almost 1,500 infections per 100,000. In response, the Catalan regional president has announced new restrictions, including nighttime curfews and a limit on 10 people gathering in or outdoors.
La situació és molt delicada.
The situation is very fragile. We are enforcing a completely extraordinary measure that restricts the right of Catalonian citizens to move freely. We are focusing on limiting social activities that we know are most likely to contribute to the spread of the virus.
This comes at a time when Spain's first lockdown, one of the toughest in Europe, has been under the microscope. As cases began rapidly rising early last year, the government declared a state of emergency in March. Almost everyone in the country was ordered to stay home, and the laws were strictly enforced for 6 weeks until June. But Spain's Constitutional Court, in response to a lawsuit brought by the far-right party Vox, now says the state of emergency wasn't enough to give the restrictions constitutional backing. In order to legally limit people's freedoms, the court said the government would have had to declare a more serious state of exception, which needs to be voted for in Parliament.
At that time, the government's duty was to take immediate, urgent and proportionate measures to contain the spread of an unknown virus and to defend the lives of millions of compatriots and allow us to contain the virus.
The government has accepted the court's ruling, and the technicality now leaves the door open for people who were fined for breaking the rules to reclaim the money they paid. It's an error the government won't want to repeat as restrictions tighten again this summer. The financial cost of coronavirus is still mounting in Spain. In response to the most recent rise in cases, France last week advised people not to travel there, while the UK announced on Wednesday that travellers returning to England from the Balearic Islands will have to quarantine from next week unless they're fully vaccinated. Another blow to Spain's tourism industry after an already tough 16 months. Sophia Tran-Thomson, BBC News.